it's Kira and welcome to the Yoga Corner. Today I'm going to be guiding you through a flow which is perfect for tight hips. The hips are a muscle group that really don't get that much attention, and I think we all need to spend a little bit more time giving them a little bit of TLC. If you are someone who often sits at a desk, and especially if you're someone who's currently working from home and maybe doesn't have the most ideal home office setup, then this flow is definitely for you, because we'll be creating some lovely space and really giving some attention to those poor hips that don't get as much love as we should give them. So without further ado, get ready, set up your mat, and we'll jump straight into it. So we're going to get started today lying down on our backs in a Supta Baddha Konasana. All that means essentially is that we're going to lie down on our backs, we're going to bring the soles of the feet together and allow the knees to fall out to the sides. This can be a really lovely stretch for the inner hips, but if it's something that you don't do very often, it can also be quite an intense sensation. So just allow yourself to sit with it for a moment, notice how the body feels. If you're looking for a more intense stretch, then you can just move the soles of the feet a little bit closer to the base of the body. And if you're liking a stretch that's maybe a little bit more gentle, a little bit more of a soft introduction into this hips flow, then simply just move the feet further away from the body. So have a play around with it, just notice how the body feels, and try to find a version of this pose that allows you to feel that stretch into the hips and kind of pushes on that sensation of discomfort. We really want to notice the difference here between discomfort and pain. If you're just feeling a slight sensation of being uncomfortable with stretching an area that doesn't usually get much stretch, then see if you can sit with it, allowing yourself to really just allow those hips to be heavy, knowing that when you sit through this sensation of discomfort, you do allow the body to create a little bit more space. But if at any point you feel any pain or any sharp sensations, then just gently bring the hands to the outsides of the legs, guide the knees back in together, and just pause there until we move on to the next part of our flow. So just notice how the body is feeling. If you're sitting with the Supta Baddha Konasana, then allow your body to really relax. At any point when we're working through a muscle group that can be quite tense, the breath becomes so important to our practice. So allow yourself to bring the attention to the breath, noticing the flow of air as it moves in and out of the body. And trying to imagine yourself sending the inhales all the way down towards the hips, allowing them to relax as you create space for them. And as you exhale, see if by allowing the air to travel all the way back through the body, you create a little bit more space for the knees to be heavy, moving out to the sides, and for the hips to be soft, relaxing into this position. We're only going to be staying here for 3 more breaths. So just allow yourself to tune into how the body is feeling, deepening your connection with the breath, and just allowing yourself to settle into this space, knowing that when we move through this discomfort, it is all completely temporary. So together we take one more deep breath in here in our Baddha Konasana. We exhale completely, allowing the body to be soft and heavy. And then we're going to bring the hands to the outside edges of the legs. Gently guide those knees back into center, planting the feet on the ground. We're going to keep the left foot exactly as it is, planted on the ground with a bend in the knee. And we're going to send the sole of the right foot up to the sky. You can interlace the hands around the back of that right leg and just gently guide it in a little bit closer towards the body. Not pulling or tugging the leg, but just gently allowing it to move in that direction. Take one more deep breath with that leg lifted. And then whenever you're ready, you're going to release the hands, and we're going to take this right ankle and cross it over the left thigh. Reclined figure of 4 pose. You should start flexing the toes of your right foot to activate that leg, and see if you can squeeze the glutes to open that leg out to the sides. You might like to stay here, or if you'd like a slightly more intense version of this pose, Then bring the hands through and interlace them behind the left leg. You'll lift the left foot away from the ground and again, flex those toes. If the foot is lifted, flex the toes and gently use the hands to guide both legs further in towards the body. Really nice. Allow yourself to sit with this sensation for one more deep breath. Exhaling completely. And then release the hands, release the foot down to the ground. Gently unwind that right leg and plant the right foot on the ground. And then whenever you're ready, right foot stays on the mat and we send the sole of the left foot up to the sky. That leg does not need to be straight here, but we're flexing the foot to activate the leg. And then you might like to interlace the hands around the back of that left leg as you start to guide it in towards the body. Creating a little bit of space through the back of your left leg as you guide it in towards the chest for one more deep breath. Exhaling to gently release the hands. Whenever you're ready, that left ankle is going to cross over the right thigh. Straight away, we flex the left toes to activate the leg and think about squeezing the glutes so that you open that left knee out to the sides. Pause there for a moment, and then if you'd like to take this pose into a more intense stretch, then you can bring the hands through and interlace them around the back of your right leg, lifting the right foot away from the ground and flexing the right toes, so both feet are flexed. You guide the knees a little bit closer in towards the body here, using the hands to assist you. We take one more deep breath here, just sitting with this sensation, enjoying the stretch for the outer hip. And then as you exhale, gently release the foot down to the ground. Once that right foot plants down, we unwind that left leg. Really good. Hug both knees into the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And then bringing the hands behind the thighs, you're going to rock and roll along the spine. Just start to build up a little bit of momentum here, making these rocks as big or as small as feels good to you. And then we're rocking over to find our hands and knees, coming to our tabletop position. So take your time getting there, get there however feels best for you. But once you find your tabletop, just check in, make sure that the hands are just underneath the shoulders and that the knees are underneath the hips. And then we're going to warm up through the spine with our cat and cows. So with our next inhale, we drop the belly, lift the chest, allow the gaze to come forwards. Exhale to round through the spine, tucking the chin to the chest. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest, gaze comes forward. Exhale, round through the spine, tuck that chin into the chest. One more time. Inhale, lift that chest, drop the belly towards the ground. Exhale, round through the spine, chin comes towards the chest as you dome through the back of the body. And then gently come back to that neutral spine, just looking down towards the hands. We're going to plant the hands firmly on the ground, spreading the fingers nice and wide, and start to hover the right knee away from the ground. Pause there for a moment, take a deep breath in. As you exhale, that right leg is going to travel out to the side. You're flexing the toes to activate that leg. Maybe look back over that right shoulder just to check that those toes are moving back towards the calf. Take a deep breath in. Really see if you can squeeze that knee any higher to open through that hip. We stay here for 3, 2, and 1. We soften that right knee down to the ground. Pause for a moment, set up the fingertips so we're spreading them nice and wide, and then we take that on the other side. So this time spreading the fingers, right foot stays where it is, but we hover the left knees away from the ground. Pause there for a moment, take a deep breath in, and whenever you're ready, that left leg is traveling out to the side. Again, you might look back over that left shoulder, check in, make sure that that left ankle is underneath the left knee, and you're flexing the toes back towards the body. Really good. Squeeze that leg in. We pause here for 3, 2, and 1. Really good, guys. Lower that knee down to the ground. Pause there for a moment. We're going to spread the fingertips nice and wide. Tuck the toes and peel the hips up to the sky to find our first downward facing dog. Once you find that first downward dog, feel free to take any movements that feel good to you. You might like to pedal out the feet, shifting the weight from one side to the other. You might like to lift up onto the toes and then sink those heels back behind you. Really just take whichever version of this pose works best for you. And then whenever you're ready, just start to make your way back to stillness. Focusing on lengthening through the spine. Can you spread the fingertips any wider and push the weight through the hands to guide your chest in towards the thighs? Really focusing on lifting up through the hips. Really good. Take one more full deep breath in. Exhale completely. With your next inhale, you're going to reach your right foot up to the sky and take a three-legged dog. As you lift that right foot away from the ground, can you really focus on pushing the weight evenly between both hands? So we're spreading the weight evenly and squaring the shoulders off to the ground. Take a deep breath in here. With an exhale, hug the right knee into the chest. Start looking towards the hands, and then whenever you're ready, step that right foot up between the palms. Plant that right foot just underneath the right knee and then lower the back knee down, release the back toes. Really good. Keep the fingertips on the ground for a moment, soften the shoulders away from the ears. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, one time only, we're going to peel that right leg back, allow the toes to move back towards the body and start straightening the leg. It does not need to be completely straight. We're just moving in that direction, so stop wherever your body feels like it needs to stop. We pause in this half split for one deep breath in. Exhale completely. And inhale to roll back through center. Plant that foot firmly on the ground and inhale to sweep the hands up to the sky, finding your low lunge. You might gently lift the gaze up towards the ceiling and just see whether you can find any more space to soften through the hips. Really nice. Take a full deep breath in. As you exhale, bring the hands down to the ground, but this time bring them on the inside of that right foot. Start to heel toe that right foot out to the side of the mat. You'd like your toes to be pointing gently off to the side and the heel to be pointing in. So we've just got a gentle 45-degree angle. Bring the hands directly underneath the shoulders and then just start to rock gently forwards and backwards over that right leg. Find a little bit of space into that right hip. But as with everything we do, just move however much your body feels like it wants to. You really just need to focus on working with your body today. Whenever you're ready, just start to move back to stillness and pause in this version of your lizard pose. Really focus on bringing the gaze forwards and then think about your leg. See if you can squeeze that right knee in towards the top of the right arm. We really want to focus on not letting that knee fall out to the sides. So find that connection with the body. Squeeze knee to arm, arm to knee. Pause there. Take one more full deep breath in this version of your lizard. And then we're going to tuck the back toes under and lift the back knee. I want you to look to the outside edge of your left hand. Take a bend into the left knee and using the power of that left leg, step the left foot up outside the left hand. Use the hands to assist you on the way down, and then we're going to sink the hips down. So both toes are pointing out to the sides and the heels are pointing in. We're going to use the hands just to give us a little bit of assistance as we gently shift the weight from side to side, just working into those inner hips, allowing ourselves to create space here. Really good. Move once more for each side and then start to return back to stillness. Really focus on sinking the hips down towards the ground. Once you feel steady there, then bring the hands together at the heart, push the palms together. Think about lifting up through the crown of the head. So really reach up all the way through the spine, creating length and avoiding that sensation of rounding down. We really want to lengthen here. Take one more deep breath. With an exhale, bring the hands down to the ground. Use the hands to help you as you lift your hips up to the sky. Heel toe the feet back in towards center, bringing them to about hips width distance, and then soften the head down, finding your forward fold. In this forward fold, just really allow the head to be heavy. You might like to take a bend in the knees as you soften the chest down towards the thighs. With your next inhale, lift up halfway. Hands find the shins. We get a nice flat back as the gaze comes forwards. Exhale, soften the chest down towards the ground. Sweeping the hands up to the sky and rooting through the feet, we lift the arms all the way up and overhead. Exhale, hands come down to the heart. We inhale to reach through the fingertips. And as we exhale, we hinge from the hips, diving forward with the chest. Inhale lifts you halfway, hands to shins. And exhale, soften the chest down, forward fold. Plant the hands down on the ground, step the feet back. Find your first plank pose. Think about reaching forward through the crown of the head and back through the heels. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, lower the knees down to the ground, release the toes. Keep the elbows tucked in towards the body as you lower the chest all the way down. Bring the hands just outside the rib cage. Push through the hands as you roll the shoulders back, lifting the chest to find your cobra. Squeeze the elbows in, find length through the spine. Exhale, soften the head back down to the ground. Tuck the toes, lift up by peeling the hips to the sky, and find your downward facing dog. Really nice. Find that length through the spine as you push the weight through the hands, guiding the chest back to the thighs. And really think about lifting up through the sitting bones as you reach the hips to the sky. With your next inhale, we're going to reach the left foot up to the sky, finding that three-legged dog. Thinking about pushing the weight evenly between both hands to create length through the spine. Exhale, we hug that knee into the chest, looking to the hands. We're going to step the left foot up between the palms and soften the back knee down to the ground. You want that left knee directly on top of the left ankle. We push the weight through the hands, soften the shoulders away from the ears. Sweeping the hands up to the sky, we find our low lunge. Allowing the chest to move forwards as we look up to the ceiling. See if you can just sink the hips down towards the ground. Really good. Exhale, bring the hands down to the ground. We're framing the front foot. Frame that front foot. Keep the fingertips on the ground. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. Allow the gaze to move forwards. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, peel that left leg back. One time we find our half split. Move the toes back towards the body here. Allow yourself to soften the chest down towards that left leg. Finding release through the back of your left leg. Taking one full deep breath in. And a full exhale. With an inhale, we walk the hands forward, planting that left foot on the ground. With an inhale, we sweep the hands back up to the sky, pausing in our low lunge. Exhale, hands are going to float back down to the ground, but this time they come to the inside of that left foot. Once the hands plant down, we're going to heel toe the feet out to the side. So that left foot is out towards the edge of the mat, toes pointing off on a slight angle, heels pointing in. You want to bring the hands directly underneath the shoulders, and you might find some small movements, maybe wiggling into that front leg by shifting the weight forwards and backwards in towards your left knee. You'll feel a nice stretch for the inside of that left hip. Just moving as far or as little as your body wants to here, just really tuning in with how you feel. And then come back towards center, planting the hands directly underneath the shoulders. Think about looking forwards, allow the chest to be open, and then really focus on squeezing that left knee into the top part of the left arm. Really allow the body to find that connection. Take one more full deep breath in. Exhale completely. Tuck the toes and lift the back knee away from the ground. We're going to shift the weight forwards, looking to the outside of our right hand, take a bend into your right knee, and then step the right foot up outside the right hand. Again, you can use the hands to assist you, or maybe you bring the hands straight together at the heart, but wherever you are, you're going to sink the hips down, and we're coming to find our Malasana squat, which is our yogi squat. You're bringing the palms together at the heart to push the elbows in towards the knees, using that connection with the legs to open out to the side. Think about lengthening all the way from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. And just notice if you can sit with this sensation, quite an intense stretch for the hips. For one more full deep breath. Exhale completely. And then bring the hands down towards the ground. Push the weight through the hands as you lift your hips up to the sky. Heel toe the feet back into center. Soften the head down to the ground. With an inhale, we're lifting up halfway. Hands to shins, nice flat back. Exhale, soften the chest down. And then rooting to rise, we inhale to sweep the hands all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands come down to the heart. Really good. We're going to take a twist so that the body is going to face the long edge of the mat. And then just allow yourself to settle into this position. Really root down through the feet, and then start to move the feet out a little wider. Start to move just a little bit at a time until you wiggle the feet out to where you feel like your limit is. Heel's going to point in and toes are going to point out, just like we had in our Malasana squat. And then we're going to bring the hands to the hips. Inhale to open through the chest, find length through the spine. And exhale to sink through the hips, lowering down. You might gently rock from side to side here, finding your goddess pose. Whenever you're ready, open the arms up to a cactus shape. Think about opening the chest, but then notice whether you want to stick your bum out and see whether you can tuck the tailbone under. So you've got a really nice long line through the spine. Take a full deep breath in. Exhale, see if you can sink the hips any lower. And then you might stay here, or you might lift up the heels away from the ground, coming onto the tiptoes. We pause here, embracing the wobbles for 5, 4, you've got this, guys, 3, 2, 1, heel sink down. We fold straight away into a wide forward fold. Just quickly turn the toes so they're pointing towards the long edge of the mat and pause in a forward fold. Take a full deep breath in. Use your exhale to soften the chest down, wiggling into this fold just to find a little bit more release. And then if the hands are anywhere but the ground, just bring them back onto the ground, and with an inhale, come onto the fingertips, lifting the gaze. Chest comes forward, halfway lift. Exhale, soften the chest down to the ground. Start to walk the hands around to frame your front foot, and just twist the weights that you're pointing back towards the front of the mat. Step the right foot up to meet the left so you're back towards your forward fold at the front of the mat. Inhale lifts you halfway, hands to shins. And exhale, soften the chest down. Plant the fingertips. Your right foot is staying where it is, and the left toe step back behind you. Soften the left knee down to the ground straight away. Wiggle those right toes out so they're at the edge of the mat, and we're finding our final lizard pose. So there's a couple of options you can take here. The first is the version that we've already taken. Your toes are pointing out to the sides, hands are just underneath the shoulders, and you're squeezing that right knee in towards the right arm. Other option is that you might come down onto your forearms. If you have anything handy, such as a block, a pillow, maybe a blanket, that you might prop the arms up with, that can help you along your way into this pose. But if not, either bring the forearms directly onto the ground if that is available to you, or stay with the arms lifted and just the hands underneath the shoulders. So take whichever version of this pose feels best for you. We're only staying here for 2 breaths. This can be quite an intense stretch for the hips. So just notice how the body feels. Do you want to try and get out of the pose straight away? And if so, can you challenge yourself to sit with the sensation that you're feeling here for 1 more breath? After you exhale, then bring the hands back underneath the shoulders if they were on the ground. Heel toe that right foot back into center. Plant the hands on the ground, lift the back toes, lift the back knee. We're going to shift the weight forwards and step the left foot up next to the right, forward fold. With an inhale, lift up halfway, hands to shins. Exhale, soften the chest down. Plant the fingertips. We're going to keep the left foot where it is. Step the right toes back behind you. Soften that right knee down. Release the right toes. Wiggle that left foot out to the side as the hands come underneath the shoulders. Either squeezing that left arm in towards the left knee and the left knee squeezing back, or maybe coming down onto the forearms. Just take whichever version works for you. Try to leave the ego to one side and not take which pose you think you should take, and take the pose that your body actually wants to take and will feel best for you. And then whichever version of lizard you've taken, just allow the body to soften, challenging the mind to sit with this sensation for 1 more full breath. Exhaling completely into the pose. And then inhaling to bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. Tuck the toes under. Wiggle that left foot back into center, and then lift the back knee. We're going to shift the weight forward, right foot steps up to meet the left, forward fold. Use the fingertips on the ground to give you some assistance. Heel toe the feet out towards the sides of the ground. Heels pointing in, toes pointing out, and then hands together at the heart or hands on the ground. You sink the hips back, finding our final malasana. Lifting up through the spine. Just notice how this malasana feels compared to the first one we took. Maybe you've got a little bit more space and ease through the hips. We're taking 1 more full deep breath in. We exhale to bring the hands down to the ground to give us some assistance as we lower the seat down to the mat. Legs are coming out long and we're lying down on the ground, pausing there for a moment. Whenever you're ready, we're hugging the knees into the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. You might like to take a happy baby to close by taking hold of the outside edges of the feet, bending through the knees and sending the soles of the feet up to the sky. Really focus on bending deeply into the knees and you'll feel a nice stretch of the inner hips. Potentially you might like to roll gently left and right, just giving the spine a little massage. Take 1 more full deep breath in. With your exhale, release the feet if you had hold of them. Hug the knees back into the chest for 1 more deep squeeze. Pull them in towards the chest. And then allow the legs to come long on the mat, the arms to rest beside the body. Check in with how you're feeling. Notice how the body feels after that movement. And together we'll take a deep breath in through the nose. And we'll exhale to sigh it out through the mouth. Settling in for our Shavasana and taking this rest, well deserved after all of that movement. If you'd like to take a longer Shavasana and you don't have to rush off after this video, then feel free to pause this video and take as much time as you need. Otherwise, if you'd like to finish your practice with me, just start to deepen the breath again, bring a little bit of energy back into the body, maybe taking some small movements by wiggling the fingers and toes. You might like to hug the knees into the chest and give yourself a squeeze, pulling yourself into a nice tight ball. And then in your own time and in no rush at all, just make your way up to a comfortable seat at the top of the mat. Legs can be crossed or in any other position that feels good to you, but we really just want to focus on lengthening through the spine. Soften the shoulders away from the ears and allow the hips and the legs to be heavy. Take a deep breath in gratitude for yourself for taking the time to practice today. I really hope you enjoyed your hip-focused flow and that your hips feel a little bit less neglected and a little bit more free and open. A big thank you from me, and I hope to practice with you again soon. Namaste.